Hello and welcome to the Samurais of Sound role-playing workout. One of our once a month on a Tuesday evening, we get together and we role-play to practice our voice acting skills, character skills, improvisation skills. We have a lot of fun and we make a lot of mistakes and we generally just roll with it. And everyone is welcome. I will be providing links periodically for people to sign up and get involved. We have a few of our participants here. We're going to give just a few more minutes for some of the other folks who have registered to show up. But for those of you tuning into the stream who don't know me, I assume most of you in the meeting know me by now. My name is Austin Coffey. I am the production manager for Samurais of Sound. I basically manage all the setting up the events. I do some of the course development. I do some voice acting, some casting direction. We got Jensen coming in. Jensen is a new Samurais of Sound member. And audio editing and music production, lots of stuff. Hi, Jensen. Welcome.
Hi, what's up?
Nice to meet you. Jakez is coming in.
You too.
I saw that you just picked up your membership, so welcome to the Samurai Sound community.
Thank you. This has been my dream career ever since I was eight years old. So,
Wonderful. I'm so happy.
Voice acting, that is.
I think you'll find you're in good company. Let's see. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Because I don't know if any of us have met you before.
Well, I'm from South Lake Tahoe, California. I am a big nerd. I know a lot of stuff that a lot of people would not expect. I'm a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, big fan of Mortal Kombat, if you can tell by the shirt. And I'm also good at doing character impersonations, which made me want to get into voice acting.
Good, awesome. We will get to the characters in a little bit. I want to make the rounds. Tony and I just got out of a private lesson. Tony's a premium member, as is Jakez, and so we do the private training together. Tony, you want to introduce yourself?
Tony, in case you didn't hear that. I'm from the Virginia area, so I'm ready to go to bed.
What, it's 8:32 on your time, so
yeah, that's usually about my bedtime.
fair enough.
So I can wake up at 4. So I'm fairly new to voice acting. I've only been trying to do this still a little bit under a year here, at least professionally. And this is I don't know. This is what I think my third or fourth role playing time here. So
I think it's number 4.
Number 4. Yeah, I've been out of action for about 3 months between the flu and pneumonia. So
wow.
That's not helping with the energy level right now either.
I wouldn't have known from the scripts we were going over in the last meeting.
Well, it's I can do spurts now. It's I'm a month past actually having pneumonia, but it can take a good month or 2 to get over it. So and I think the last time I was on here, my character got drunk off from a beer that he magically mixed with a red beard hair from a dwarf and passed out next to a cow.
That's right. I remember that.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
The cow will be making a reappearance, so stay tuned. Let's see. Jakez, hi.
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. How's it going? How you been?
It's been going well so far. I've been practicing all my techniques every single day.
Oh, good.
Uh, and I'm really excited for this role play workout. And a certain character will make his appearance return.
Very nice. I'm excited too. Let me double check on the stream here, make sure we are.
Yeah, I'm a first timer to this, so I can't wait to learn about these exercises and
Yeah,
yeah.
I will definitely get into it. And after we finish introductions, it's pretty flexible, and I try to make it as simple as possible. But I want to hear more about how we're doing. Chris, how's it going?
Hey, going good. We are in the middle of a freeze, but that's fine.
Yep.
We had snow for like first in forever.
My dad is in your area. I won't
Okay.
share your area if you're not comfortable, but he sent me pictures of what's going on. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. My name's Chris. I am an actor / voice actor. I've been pursuing it I've been an actor for like 8+ years, pursuing voice acting professionally for the past 4 years. And yeah, this will be. I've been with this specific roleplay workouts from the start. So my character, yeah, you'll see. My character's been around the block.
And Chris sent a really cool, basically like description of his character's backstory, which is really amazing. It's tied into this almost like creation myth that he's concocted, and I'll be sharing it with the community in our upcoming newsletter. But we can talk about it here, of course. As did James, sent a really cool introduction to his character as well. James, how's it going?
Good. Hey everyone, how are y'all? Hi. Yeah, I'm James. I'm kind of new to the community. Well, kind of about 3 months in. I just started this voice acting training, and it's been pretty good so far. I'm enjoying all the courses, the workshops, and everything. So yeah, and I'm looking forward to the roleplay voice acting, first time running it with you guys. I played D&D before, but it's kind of nice to play again. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've played D&D a few times when I was in high school. Last time I played it, I was like, I don't know, like 15, 16.
Okay, it's been a while.
Yeah.
This will feel a lot like D&D in many ways, and then it will feel, as far as role playing and getting into character goes, and then rules wise, mechanics wise, it's going to be a lot easier and simpler. You don't really have to think about gameplay mechanics as much. Is my goal. So with that said, how about Miss Larissa? Hi.
Good evening. Nice to see you guys. This is my first role play with Strawberry Hill. I've only been a member for a few months, so
Welcome.
I'll try not to make too many mistakes.
Well, I'm the rookie. I've been a member for a few days.
Jensen's diving in on day 3 here. I am going to make lots of mistakes. So I'm just going to put that out there.
Hey, it's cool. It's cool. We all make mistakes.
So no worries about that. And I'm definitely not going to try to avoid that too much. It's a nice space to maybe make mistakes, maybe take some risks, and have fun. No worries. Lynn, hi, how's it going?
Hello, let's see. So I just recovered from COVID, so that was fun.
Wow.
Been doing voice acting for about a year, booked a few jobs. Yeah, second time role playing with Strawberry Hill. And then last time we have Sir Flanagan here. He has acquired a hat, the pirate hat. I don't have a pirate hat, so we're gonna use this fedora. Here he is.
Lady.
The pirate hat. That's amazing. Sir Flanagan. Okay, yeah. Yep, I remember him. Okay, so let's see. Lee. Hi, Lee.
Hey guys, what's up? Yeah, I'm Lee. I've mostly been I think I've been a member with Strawberry Hills since I think November. First time getting the chance to actually get into the role playing thing. I'm at least familiar with role playing games because I go to Gen Con like every year and mostly just run games.
Wow. You said Gen Con?
Gen Con, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so a little bit about the gameplay mechanics before we talk a little bit about the game. We are going to be using the Voices and Choices framework, not Dungeons and Dragons, Voices and Choices. I developed this framework for voice actors specifically, and people who want a more streamlined gameplay experience. You will not have to have prepped anything for this evening. Looks like Lynn's coming in. She must have bounced out. It's okay to come completely unprepared. It's okay to have written a backstory. It's okay to have written a monologue. It's okay to have prepared however you see fit. So we will generally, in the beginning of the session is when I'll set up a little scenario where you can introduce yourself in character. But to make a character, what you should do is think about what kinds of adventuring heroes inspire you from, movies, books, television, stories, folklore, and use that to sort of guide where you want to take your character, unless you have like a specific like voice you want to practice using. But I would generally start from like what kinds of heroes you want to play. And then all you do from there is think about like what the character would look like, what kinds of equipment he'd be carrying, or she, what is their motivation? Why have they decided to, put behind what most would consider to be their normal mundane lives and join the ranks of the adventurers, right? You're setting off, risking your life for, in this case, on behalf of the Order of Echoes, which is this peacekeeping organization. But you don't do that unless you have a lot of skill in adventuring and a strong motivation for doing so. So you can think about that. You don't have to have all the answers right away. It's okay to not have any of the answers right away, actually. But those are just some guiding questions. And then mechanics-wise, you just pick. There are four skills in Voices and Choices. Strength, which measures your force that you can exert upon the world. Dexterity measures either how quick you are, or perhaps how flexible you are, or how much fine motor control you have. So it can be used to like sprint a short distance if you want to get somewhere really quickly, or do an acrobatic leap, triple backflip or something, or even to pick a lock, right, with very fine precision, or to sneak around for those stealthy rogue characters. Perhaps to shoot a bow and arrow if your character uses a long-range weapon as opposed to a good old-fashioned sword, right? So strength, dexterity. Out of the four, the third is perception, which is for characters whose greatest strength is their mind or their senses. So if you're a real intelligent kind of genius inventor character, I always go to like a Tony Stark or a Doctor Strange because I'm big into Marvel. If you use magic, you'll probably favor perception. If you are really good with your senses, maybe you've spent your entire life in the wilderness and you're now coming out to join the ranks of adventurers. You've been tracking your whole life. You've been shooting a bow and arrow, that's dexterity. You've been setting traps for animals, those types of things, using your senses. That's perception. And the fourth is charisma, which is the force you exert with your personality over other people. So if you are a bard type character, or we talked about diplomatic type characters, people who are very used to interacting and swaying the opinions of others, that would be the charisma skill. You can use charisma also to use magic. If you're a bard who has a magic lute that he uses to bolster his comrades and stuff like that. So any character can use magic. Generally, that's going to be perception or charisma. And if you don't have dice, some people bring dice. You could just use Google. If you just pull up a Google tab and type in dice roller, it'll pull up a dice roller widget. And it's pretty easy. You just click on in voices and choices, you only use a D20 and a D6. And when I say D20, I just mean the 20-sided dice. It's got a big 20 on it in the Google Dice Roller widget. And it's shaped like a hexagon, at least the silhouette. And that's generally going to be the dice. And then when I say D6, that's just your standard everyday six-sided dice. Those are the only two that we're going to use. So as you create your character, you're going to choose a strong skill and a weak skill. The strong skill gets +2. The weak skill gets -2. Okay. And then you can think about if you have any tools that are helping you do whatever you're doing. And if that's the case, you get a bonus for that as well. Okay. Any questions before we get started? And it's okay if you just want to figure it out as you go along, or even sit back for a minute and just see what other people are doing.
I'll go along as best I can. I do have this one character that I made last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can absolutely reuse older characters. That's totally fine. Okay.
Can I bug off for a minute and get my dice?
Give me a minute.
Of course, yeah. At any time, if I'm probably not going to take
right
any
back.
breaks in the session, so just take your own breaks as you see fit. We're going to end at 7:30. Okay. Let me pull up my notes here. And we will give those folks just a couple of minutes to get their stuff. Any other questions in the meantime?
Hey, Austin. For my character, I forgot the name of my character. I forgot the name of my character from the last session that we have role play. I know his name gotta be like it's all with a B. But
I remember he was the werewolf, right?
Yes.
He was super cool. I took pretty sparse notes during that session. I don't remember the name, so you can just make up a name, whatever name comes to mind.
I think it's Belbagor. I'm trying to think of a wolf.
Wait, do I have that written? No, Belbagor. Okay. Yeah.
I have a fighter, so say I made a samurai character named Mersin Bushi.
Okay, Mersin Bushi.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, we'll there will be plenty of opportunity here in just a minute to introduce your characters in the scene.
Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to add in like the tools and gears to my character, but when it asks for like, I think for example, spell components +2, it says you could add, it says perception / charisma. Does it mean +2 to each of them or +2 to one of those attributes?
It's usually going to be the one that your character is stronger with. If you're using spell casting components, you're probably you're either perception or charisma.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. It's not a hard and fast rule though. You could potentially use charisma if you're anyway. It's generally one or the other.
Okay.
Okay, so you find yourself sitting around a large, sturdy wooden table in the Resonant Mug, a well-loved tavern with low beams and warm lighting. The room buzzes with murmured conversation and the occasional clink of glasses. The smell of spiced ale and roasted nuts mingles with the faint scent of the candle's smoke. Across the room, a small stage glows softly, illuminated by crystal orbs. A fellow Echolight of the Order of Echoes, your adventuring order, is standing on this stage, nervously reciting a poem, their voices quivering. And Farmer Malachite, a halfling, is sitting at this table with you. His brows are furrowed, and he's taking anxious sips from this heavy tankard each time the Echolight on the stage pauses between lines. And his tension seems to weigh even heavier than this room's lively atmosphere, and his gaze is sort of just fixed on nothing in particular. Nearby, there's a gnome in a bright red jacket who's evidently the host of the evening's proceedings, and he's twirling this cane theatrically. And there is a bartender making the rounds in the tavern. So, as you sit around this table, and this gnome who is in this bright red jacket, by the way, for the uninitiated, a gnome is just a small, he's around 3 feet tall. He's this kind of cute old man in this bright red jacket. And as he's twirling his cane, he calls out, he says, thank you so much. He turns to the Echolight. All right, take a bow. It was all right, don't worry. And the Echolight kind of just nervously takes his bow, and he says, all right, let's move things along. Who else has something that they would like to contribute? It's open mic night. Anything goes. And he sort of gestures towards this stage. And there's a moment where people are unsure if they're going to be the next one to volunteer.
People, please don't rush.
What's the
Oh, is this the
holdup?
part where we volunteer to sing karaoke? Is that it?
The gnome looks back at you, and he says, karaoke? Sure, why not? I think we could rig something up. And he kind of looks back at the bard. He says, I was going for, karaoke, or you could regale us with the story of how you came into the adventuring life. I'm sure most of us here, this is an Echolight tavern. I'm sure most of us have some tales that they could spin and weave. Karaoke works too. Whatever suits your fancy. If you want to juggle.
My character slowly stands up. You see kind of a robed figure, kind of frail looking, and he stands up slowly and goes, I volunteer. Can one of you help me up there real quick? I just want to... he's a dwarf, by the way, so he's a little short. So if you want to throw him up there, you're feel free. But I volunteer. I'll make my way. And then he gets up.
Somebody help this poor man. He looks like he's on his last legs.
Yeah, don't worry, it's my sciatica. I'm making my way.
My character.
Okay.
Sorry. My character will offer a hand. You see a very tall, very old elven woman. She stands about 6 feet tall and gaunt. Her elvish features may have once been charming and radiant, but now they are old, dull, and hollow. Pointed ears droop ever so slightly from age. Downcast, sunken eyes stare into the middle distance. A thin face gives her chin and cheekbones a sharp visage. She wears little more than an oversized coat cinched at the waist and dragging behind her. Her skin is scarred, but one can still make out the green markings like stripes running across her figure. Her hair is long, scraggly, and clearly has not seen care in a long time, but oddly enough, it never seems to tangle. And as she stands up to offer a hand to the dwarf, people will also notice a large sword strapped to her back that's about 7-8 foot long. It's a pure white sword that looks to have been made from a single piece of something. Like the entire blade hilt is a single piece of material. She carries that on her back, and she bends down to offer a hand to the dwarf and says, "Please watch your step, elder."
Oh, thank you so much. Oh my, such beauty. I mean, sorry. Oh, what is your name, miss?
I am called Resonetta, and your attempts at flattery are appreciated but unneeded.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend or anything, but thank you for your help. My name is Lou. Lou Drixus, dwarf. You mind helping me up on stage? I like a story. I like to tell my story, if you don't mind.
Of course, Elder Lou.
I can't wait to hear this. My character says, Merson Bushi, a samurai. A samurai also known for smoking the good hash, let's just say. Anyway, inspired by Mitsurugi from the Soul Calibur series, and has a voice similar to Chris Sabat.
My character doesn't say anything, but hears the word sciatica and starts to dig in their bag for the white willow bark.
The gnome, as the dwarf is hobbling up the stairs, scrambles and gets this. He goes up to the bard and he says, "Hey, get up!" and kind of kicks him off the stool, and then brings the stool back center stage and parks it right there in the middle. Regale us with a tale.
Yes. Lou makes his way up to the stage and he climbs up to the stool, sits down. Oh, this is the first. I don't know what I was thinking. I just went up here. Well, I guess I'm not into the karaoke, but I've been around for quite a long time. I do have a bit of a story to tell.
The gnome, as he's setting up the stool, is sort of like he's a good bit shorter than you, even though you're a dwarf, and he's kind of eye level with like your forearms, and he sees these tattoos that are sort of inscripted on your arms. They look to be significant, and he kind of looks at them puzzled. He says, "If I didn't know any better, I would say those are the markings of a real adventurer. Where did you get them from?"
Oh, this was centuries ago, from I guess you could say a former life. For a past time with previous parties during my youth, when I first began as an adventurer, just as many of you have. I was once a mighty warrior, a former barbarian. I was tasked to protect the forces of evil. Certainly, I've traveled to many realms throughout my adventures. I was so headstrong, accomplishing tasks, just finishing missions. After centuries, everything felt like a blur. Some memories stay, others you forget, and some you want to forget. Maybe it was the rage within that have buried these memories. However, throughout my journeys, survival is an absolute necessity in one's journey. Survival instincts like food gathering, taking shelter are one, but what I speak of plainly is sanity. I lost allies, loved ones, and friends along the way. And nothing hurts more than living for centuries and watching the friends you've made along the way perish as you continue on. But my task now in life these days is to help adventurers find their footing in case they get lost along the way. I might be living around for a while. I might not. It's been centuries, who knows? But you might be wondering what keeps me sane. Well, my friends, of course. I mean, I did mention that they have passed on, but I have learned a few things along the way. With the power of necromancy, I can still hang out with my best buds, even for a moment at a time.
The crowd is just like stunned, speechless.
Whoa.
My character goes up and he's kind of like, "Oh man, you're like bringing the mood down, man." And he tries to heal him, the sciatica, with his healing light.
So what does the crowd and your fellow adventurers, what kind of person are they seeing climb onto this stage?
So he is a tall, skinny, young human who the last time you saw him, you may have called him a -1 or -2, and now he may be a -1. So he is wearing ill-fitting and dented armor as he walks up with a large shield that he left at the table, and a short sword.
Okay, and
an amulet dangling around his neck.
And what does it look like as he attempts to heal this slightly depressed old man?
Well, first he trips on the stage getting up there.
Oh.
And hopefully he catches himself before he stumbles onto the old dwarf. And then he just kind of rubs his hands together and holds them out where his sciatica is, trying not to touch his rear end too much.
All right.
And you start to see a white light glowing, and he's like, "Man, this didn't work the last time. I hope it works now."
All right. What is the is it perception that you're probably using it to cast your spell?
Perception.
And you have this talisman, so that's probably a +2, right? To spell cast.
Yeah, we didn't say last time, so I'll give it a +2, sure.
And a quick note, the equipment that you have is pretty flexible, open to suggestions, but it's going to be limited to +5 total across everything that you suggest. So talisman +2. That's going to be a perception check. You're going to roll your d20 like you do every time, and because it's magic, you're going to have to roll with disadvantage. So you're going to roll a d6 alongside that, which will be negative.
Okay, so I think that's why it didn't work the last time. So the d20 is an 11, and the d6 is a 3.
Okay, so that's 11 minus 3, which is going to be 8. So unless someone does something to help him, it doesn't.
Is that +4 with the perception and the amulet?
Oh, well, yeah, I forgot to mention your perception and your amulet. So 8.
So it should be a 12
to 10 to 12. Okay, so that passes. So as
Yay for buffs.
Yeah. What's your character's name, by the way?
Atreus.
Okay. So as this white light sort of emits from your hands onto the dwarf's back, not only does your back pain subside, but your mood and your sort of outlook on your friends dramatically like improves, and you sort of channel all these warm memories that you've made in life without dwelling so much on the death, and that's sort of where your character gets to mentally and physically.
Woohoo, it worked! Another warm milk, please.
This reminds me. This young man. This is amazing. What's your secret? What have you done?
I don't know, man. I'm just kind of making it up as I go along.
Oh, much
I've
like
only cast a spell once before.
Your first time? Oh my God! You mean I could have died?
I hope not. The last time I cast it, I kind of passed out with a cow, but no one died.
As long as no one died.
The bartender comes over and hands you both glasses of milk. The gnome says, "Well, that was very touching. Does anyone else have another performance that they would like to throw in?"
I heard somebody.
Oh. I mean, as soon as someone introduced the next contestant, a tall, gray, strong wolf stand up and says, I would like to tell a tale from my homelands, if everyone wants to hear it.
The gnome says, "By all
Well,
means, go ahead."
I heard karaoke was on tonight. You know, I am known for this particular hobby. Every Wednesday at another pub.
Let's hear the tale first, and then you can regale us with a song, young adventurer.
Oh, you better believe it.
And then he pulls up the stool. He motions for the dwarf to get off the stool and pulls it up for Jaquez's character.
I'm going. And then I just like hobble off, and then I just get off the stage.
Thank you, fine dwarf. This tale remind me of my prime days back in my homeland. One day in the land of Wolfgaria, me and my brother and my comrades, we went on search for a task to fight this huge dwarf that carried this ancient realm relic, that able to feed our people for centuries in a time of crisis. One day, when we were almost back into the depths of hell himself, the dwarf suddenly came in with a giant club and rampaging all over the battlefield. And once we thought it was over, I caught my second wind, and then I saw him gain the power of the strength of the great wolf god. Oh no, God. I have to make a word. And then I suddenly built up the courage of race and slain the beast, take the relic, and I was praised a hero to me and my people.
Very nice, very nice. The gnome says, and there's this applause around the tavern. And now, before we wrap up the evening's proceedings, let's end it the best way we know how, with a song. And then he turns to Jensen's character.
Merson Bushi. Now this I heard when I was hanging out with some friends, and we smoked some good stuff, let's just say. Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight plane going everywhere.
Wonderful.
Just
Okay,
a city boy.
make a charisma check with advantage, because that was some killer singing.
Thank you. Now roll the dice.
Yeah. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna roll your d20, and since you have advantage, you're gonna roll a d6, and then you're gonna add them together.
All right, 16.
16. Do you have a is charisma your strong skill, or since you're
you could.
is samurai?
Yeah.
Since you're like a samurai, it might be strength or dexterity instead. You get one strong skill starting out. We'll just keep it at 16.
But I like. Alrighty.
All right, the crowd goes nuts. They're like, "Oh my gosh, we've never heard this song before. This is amazing." And the bartender brings you a tall mug of ale, essenced with some of that good stuff that you were mentioning.
Thank you.
My fellow samurai, I've met many people throughout my days, but you are one of the few people that I consider entertaining.
Well, thank you, my good sir.
Now, off in sort of out of view at this point, with the crowd some of them having stood up and got closer to the stage and whatnot, is Farmer Malachite. Now, this farmer is familiar to a few of you who have been adventuring with the group in the past, as the leading farmer of a small village called Sablewood. And Farmer Malachite has been strangely quiet all evening. He's been obviously concerned about something, and he gestures toward Chris's character, whose name is what was your character's name again?
Resonetta.
And beckons you back towards the table.
Mm-hmm. She will sit down and just very, very calmly just look over the farmer and says, "It is good to see you again. Has all been well in Sablewood since our last visit?"
Well, when I went back, let me tell you, well, actually, I haven't really thought about it much, but it was quite a dangerous journey. The roads have changed. Those guards have left us. They've abandoned Sablewood. They were our guards for many years. I wasn't always the kindest to them, and frankly, I don't think they were doing their job as well as they should have. But things have changed since they've left. And New Sternium, and which is your characters would all know, is sort of this imperialistic empire that's been sort of systematically colonizing different settlements over the past few generations. They have a sort of this authoritarian government that comes across as, efficient, but perhaps ruthlessly so. And they have a strong military. And Farmer Malachite says, well, those folks from New Sternium stepped in. They saw that we were struggling. Those forests are dangerous after all. And, well, things just haven't been the same since. Last time that the Order of Echoes stepped in, you were able to reclaim this artifact for us. And, well, I brought it back home, but I didn't know what to do with it. So I've braved the journey back, and I hope that you'll be able to make better use of it than I can. And he produces this harp from his satchel. And this harp has 3 strings, and each of the strings is just sort of faintly glowing with this golden light. And he says, I believe you were the one to deliver it, Resonetta. So maybe you can make more sense of it than I can. And he hands it back to you.
Excuse me. Resonetta will take it, and she remembers the adventure they went on to the Whispering Isles to fetch it. She, her expression doesn't usually change. It's very downcast, but as she's looking at it, there's not much in terms of clarity or in terms of what to do. So she instead turns to Artemis. I think that was your name, right, Lynn? She turns to Artemis and Sir Flanagan because they were there, and she remembers they used magic. And she says, I am unfamiliar with such arcanic instruments. Artemis, you are a user of magecraft, yes? Do you have any insight?
So I take it and I kind of like turn it over, kind of inspect it. Can I do a roll for like if I can recall any information?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
Why don't you make a perception check?
Okay, let's see. So perception, I have +2, and I roll it, and I got an 18.
That's going to be 18 on the die.
Yeah, +2 is 20.
Okay. So yeah, you're able to recall, in addition to any details you might want to add, you are able to recall that this artifact is known as the Lost Chord, and it is a harp made of gold and strung of the hair from a unicorn mane. In fact, 3 different unicorns have been have been interacted with in order to make the strings on this harp. And it's an ancient artifact that used to belong to the Order of Echoes before it was stolen by this large crustaceous monster who didn't believe it worthy to be wielded in the hands of mere mortals, and took it back to his lair on the Whispering Isles, only to hold it for many decades, 100 years, until you reclaimed it back by force in competition with New Sternium. And every time that you pluck one of the strings, it emits this resonant pulse that is known to quell dissent among like heated dissent among crowds of people, so that they can think rationally and come to better agreements amongst themselves, and reconcile differing viewpoints. So that is the sort of enchanting quality about this lost chord that is now not so lost, and that you hold in your hands before you. You're welcome to, convey any of this, and you can make up more. You can, of course, add on to that lore, especially with such a high intelligence perception.
Okay. Yeah. So I just relay that information to Resonetta. And then I hand it back.
Mm-hmm. And your character would be kind of recalling their intense studies. Can you talk more about what you'd be kind of drawing upon your experiences?
Let's see. So my character went to a very prestigious university and did a master's degree type of study, where part of her studies involved learning this ancient histories of different artifacts. I've only seen in books, but never. This is the first time I've seen something this valuable in real life, up close.
And what does Sir Flanagan think of it?
He's too busy snacking on some bread to pay attention. Just like sitting on a table and going like, yum 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 yum.
The bartender walks by and she stoops down and she's like, "Would you like some milk with that?" And hands Sir Flanagan a glass of milk.
And goes, nee! And goes, takes the milk in little hands, goes glug glug.
So what did you do with the lost cord? Did you hand it back?
Oh, I handed it back.
Okay. To
Resonetta will, she'll take it and she'll just gently run her fingers over it, and she says to Malachite, "So, if I recall, we defeated New Sternium forces while we were retrieving this lost cord. Do you think... Is it possible that they invaded Sablewood searching for this?"
I hadn't considered that. More out of instinct than anything else, I kept it concealed when I went back. My son encouraged me to do it. I told him about everything that had happened. And with his wild imagination, he insisted that this was something that was over my head. I'm just a simple farmer. I was mostly worried about getting my scarecrow back set up and making sure my cow was all right. But I didn't tell him about it. It certainly is possible. Do you think that means we shouldn't bring it back or try to use it?
If what Artemis said is correct, it could very well cease their approach. If there is argument or dissent between the people of Sablewood and the New Sternium soldiers, perhaps this cord could broker more amicable negotiations. But I worry that is exactly what they want. Have the who else would be at the table at this point?
I think it's safe to assume most of the party members would be at the table unless they want to be somewhere else.
Okay. Resonetta will look to the others and basically just give a quick recap of what happened and says, I do not think we should return the lost court to Sablewood, but I recognize it is our duty as Echo Knights to try and find common ground with New Sternium. I would like to hear what everyone else thinks.
Ugh. Hey, if you're talking adventure, I'm in. You see, I've been on quite some adventures myself.
Same here. Always looking for a dangerous adventure.
Well,
Yeah.
there certainly will be no shortage of danger. Like I said, these roads have changed. Part of me agrees with Resonetta that it may be quite dangerous to try to conceal this artifact, but on the other hand, it could help us. I mean, we are in quite a pickle. Our people are not happy with the way that New Sternium has stepped in, but we're just too daggum small to do anything about it.
Lou makes his way down and then hears the word adventure like, "Oh, you guys are looking to party up for an adventure?"
You know it.
I think I could help out a little bit. What seems to be the situation?
Let's
Well-
assume for expediency that everything we've already said is just being relayed to you. So if you want to add something new, you can. But let's just assume that it gets relayed to you, everything.
I shall be your shield, he says, trying to pick it up and dropping his shield.
Well, it seems like three or four of us think it's the best idea to bring it. So should we go ahead and get started? We don't want to waste too much time. I mean, every day the people grow more unhappy.
So I will.
Let me grab my stuff real quick.
Lee's
So I
character.
am.
Mhm.
Yeah. So my character actually has been locked in on something else. He's been hunched over, kind of etching, fiddling away with something. So he wasn't paying too much attention. Someone's probably gonna have to snap him out of it before he can say anything.
The farmer says, "It's okay. We've got a long road ahead, and we'll fill you in on the details as we go." And he drains his glass of milk, and gets up from the table. He says, "We've no time to waste. So are we ready to depart?"
Yes, let me get one glass of milk in me, and I'll be headed out.
Leads you out the door, and it's it's midday as you get started, and this tavern that you've been sitting in, called the Resonant Mug, is sort of on the outskirts of Ablaria. Ablaria is the capital city that is, well, it's a city-state, as most of the major settlements in Vocalia are. And Ablaria is the seat of operations for the Order of Echoes, of which you are all Echolites. And anyway, this tavern is on the outskirts of town, so it doesn't take long before you the signs of normal civilization start to fade away, and the road becomes a bit less paved or maintained, and you see scattered passers-by every half hour and then every hour, and then the sun goes down. It's almost sunset now in the sky as you approach this long, imposing bridge that spans this deep gorge in the ground. And the surrounding area has gone from a light forest with pastures over the course of a few hours has become quite desert-like and arid. And this bridge is spanning this gorge was once, from the looks of it, this symbol of cooperation and safety. This shining, perhaps well-polished bridge is now a bit less maintained than maybe it once has been, and it's draped sort of in these crimson and gold banners that are characteristic of New Sternium. And these wooden planks, you can hear creaking underfoot of this caravan, this man and his family, and this small like stagecoach or wagon, if you will. They're traversing the bridge. You can hear this this faint roar of a river kind of in the gorge, mingled with the wind. And on the other side of this gorge, some 200 feet across, perhaps a bit further, is this small wooden structure where this group of guards in polished armor are standing, and their demeanor is sort of stiff and authoritative. And this man, perhaps a merchant who's traversing the bridge, is shouting at these men, the guards, on the other side of the gorge. And his voice sort of carries over, and he says, "I won't do it. I won't pay your ridiculous toll. This bridge belongs to the people of Sablewood." And one of the guards on the other side of the gorge is standing at this mechanism, this small mechanism that's on this like podium. It's really kind of hard to make out from this distance, but he's got this one hand on this what looks to be a lever, and he's got this smirk, and he says, "Times have changed, old man. If you knew what was lurking in these woods, you would understand why Captain Claudius has had to hire so many guards here. Pay the toll, or we'll drop the bridge. You'll all be safe in our custody." And he kind of gestures down into the gorge partway. You can see there's this thick net underneath the bridge. And the merchant kind of gathers his family close. He's like really caught off guard. And the other guards are kind of like looking towards the one who's got his hand on the mechanism with a little bit of uncertainty.
It's safe to
My
s-
character still looks like a cat, so she jumps off the pack that she was taking a ride on, and she saunters up to one of the children and goes and gives a little head bump and looks up with her big green eyes and says,
The kid says, "Oh, Mama, look, there's a kitty. What's your name? Oh, wait, you're a cat. You can't talk."
My character is just gonna wind around everybody's legs for a minute and then go over to the bridge and just start to paw at it ever so politely, just a little bit of toe pad tap, and then says,
Okay. Make a charisma check, which is gonna be, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say maybe charisma is one of your strong skills or your strong skill.
Yes.
So that'll be a +2.
The 20 or the 6.
So whenever you make a check or it's always going to be a D20, 20-sided die.
Gotcha. Oh, 1.
Oh no.
Okay. So
You eat the cat.
no.
No, don't eat the cat.
No, don't. I don't want to be reminded of That movie. Thank you.
1 plus 2 is going to be 3. What is your cat's name?
Well, the cat that I allow, the name that I allow people to find out about is Penelope.
Ah,
Okay. So as this kitty is sort of rubbing against their feet, the children, of which there are 2, a young boy and a young girl, sort of let out these, these squeals that, any kid would at the sight of a cute animal. Oh, it's a cute kitty. And the guards are, especially the one with his hand on the mechanism, are caught off guard by the sudden outburst. And the dad kind of turns to the kids and he's like, kids, now is not the time. Shh. But the guard is like, what's going on over there? And begins to, sort of look and crane his neck and like is starting to fiddle with this mechanism, as it were.
Well, my character is going to walk right up to that big guy with his thick leather boots and everything and start walking right up his boots, up his pants, up his shirt, up to his shoulder, and give him a good little bump right in his face.
He is going to, unfortunately, with the negative result, he's going to catch you with a net that he keeps on occasion just for cats like this, and is going to stuff you over towards his colleagues, who are going to sort of like wrestle and kind of bring you into this the wooden sort of structure that they have on the other side of the gorge.
Seeing that activity, is it safe to say that the party was like waiting in line behind the wagon of the family?
I think you started like, let's say 10 or 15 feet from the start of the bridge. So you're not even on the bridge unless you wanted to be.
Okay. I think Resonetta will just start to walk across the bridge. And I think I'm trying to decide. Yeah, she will have put the lost cord inside of her like oversized clothes just to keep it out of sight. She has it on her, but she starts to walk towards walk across the bridge, not menacingly, but large enough so that she's noticeable to the New Sternium guards.
The New Sternium guards are going to call out across the gorge. The one holding the mechanism, and he's going to say, "Halt right there! We can only allow one party at a time to cross this bridge."
Resonetta will keep walking. And yeah, she'll keep walking, and she'll stop. She'll stop and stand next to the cart if there's room to do so.
The husband is going to turn towards you, and he's going to say, "I don't know who you are, but I hope you know what you're doing. I didn't realize they could open up this bridge. I hope that net below us is stable. This cart's very old. It's not going to handle a drop like that very well."
She'll take in his words and then look back to the man and just sort of bow her head, just sort of in respect, and say, "It would appear that our cat has caused a bit of trouble for you. We would like to cross, and I am sure these people here would like to cross as well. So I will offer you this." And she holds out, I believe she has 20 gold. She will hand out 20 gold and say, "If this is acceptable to allow my party, this family, and the return of our cat, I offer it freely."
The youngest girl is gonna just be tugging on the pants leg of the mom. She's like, "I want the kitty back. Make sure we get the kitty back." And the dad is like, all right, calm down, all right. Did you hear that? This kind woman's got 20 gold. The guards kind of look at each other like, okay, come on through.
And Resonetta will motion to the rest of her party, and she'll even assist to guide or pull the wagon. I'm not sure. Is it? She will offer to guide the wagon across as well. But she's just gonna be given a big old stink eye to the soldier with his to the soldier manning the mechanism the whole time.
Okay. As you cross the bridge, you look down into the gorge. You see that it's dotted with, although the gorge is several hundred feet deep, it's dotted with these trees that are extremely tall. They're like almost like redwood trees that seem that are much taller than the trees you see ahead in the forested the landscape that becomes gradually more forested, transitioning from desert to forest. But these trees in the gorge are much taller, and you can see these like ruined kind of pillars way down at the bottom where the river is sort of carving through that look thousands and thousands of years old.
As Artemis walks across the bridge, one hand on her staff, which is a 7-foot metal staff with a purple gem as a walking stick, uses as walking stick. The other hand holding a flask, just taking a swig, and then Flanagan on the shoulder and goes to the guard and goes.
As I walk by, I take a hit of my joint and blow it in his face.
As I walk by, I'm gonna give that guy a mean growl, like make him flinch. That's right.
So my character is already on the other side because he's still been etching around with his little thing, not paying attention, and just kept walking. Since it seemed like the guards were distracted, nobody stopped him. He's still going. He has no idea what you guys are doing.
The guards kind of, especially the one that's been accosted several times consecutively, reels back and he's like, "You may belittle me, but if you knew what we were trying to keep you safe from, you would understand why our toll is so steep. The only thing I can say is good luck out there."
Don't worry, we will.
Resonetta will nod at the guard, just as a thank you, and then hold out her hand for the cat bag.
Really, Resonetta, if I'll be honest with you, I would have thrown that cat into the river. You know how much I hate cats. It's just a little pun of a cat and dog relationship. That one.
He's a werewolf, if you guys didn't know. How does the cat feel about this exchange as she's being brought out in this like satchel?
She yawns because she's got 2 of her paws hanging out from the net and goes,
Resonetta will take the net, the bag, open it up, and just kind of hold the cat face to face and just stare at it for a second. and then she'll
well, in that case, I'm going to yawn again.
And then she's just gonna put the cat on her shoulder and keep walking.
Acceptable.
Does she say that out loud?
Heck no. Silence is acceptance.
All right.
No news is good news from the cat. As you progress onwards, like I said, this landscape that was an arid desert, you can see in the distance these trees that are starting to dot the landscape. These short trees, and at first they are few and far between, and low. And as you progress, and the sun continues sinking down into the sky, the trees become a bit taller and closer together. And before you know it, you've entered into this thick, dark forest as the sun has descended below the mountains that dot the horizon. And as you cling to the last vestiges of that horizon, you see a tall mountain that sticks out rather close closer than the rest of the horizon anyway. And the discerning among you can recognize it as the mountain in which the werewolf that terrorized Sablewood for many weeks dwelled. You can see it rising above the forest in the medium distance. And as you continue on, it quickly grows rather dark in the woods. You can hear the sounds of crickets, chirping away. The quiet rush of a river somewhere in the distance, the hoot of an owl, and then you hear this ravenous howl let loose in the woods, and it sort of echoes through the trees, and you can hear it at quite some distance.
I draw my blade.
Oh man, is that another one of your relatives?
I doubt it. But every time that we howl, it usually must be a distress call. Let me try to relay it back.
Well, I think you just did a howl, but it's actually suppressed by Zoom's algorithm. At least for me, I couldn't hear it. Is it the same for everyone else?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. That sounded like the very beginning of an
Yeah.
epic howl.
Yeah, didn't hear it.
Here is a
I
bit of
didn't hear
advice.
anything.
Yeah,
Turn
you didn't hear
up at the
anything?
top right, you should see a thing that says original sound for musicians. If you turned that onto on, it should suppress noise suppression.
How I'm supposed to do that? I got a MacBook, so
Is it going to be, if you go into settings, if you're on Mac, you
No,
go,
it is a thing that should be up there. I don't know if it's something you have to enable, but it's up there.
Oh, it's up
Mine
on
has
the
a
screen
green
already?
shield.
Yeah, it is up by the exit button. It is by the sign in button. It is on like the top bar, at least on Windows.
on Windows.
I do not know what it looks like for Mac.
Have
Yeah,
a
I'm-
MacBook,
yeah.
and I see it up
I
there
saw
as
the
well.
sign in and view.
Is it, so do you, I see original sound for musicians. Are you saying you should have that checked or have it not checked?
Turn it on to disable noise suppression.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so what you're gonna want to do, Jaquez, and everyone, this is really good, especially for what we do. Go into Zoom. If you're on a Mac, go click on Zoom, or mine says Zoom Workplace, might be because I'm on a different plan. And then settings. You can also press Command, comma, or probably Control, comma if you're on Windows. Settings, and then go into audio, and you're gonna see speaker, and you're gonna see microphone. What you want to do is go under microphone, under audio profile, and you're going to check original sound for musicians, in parentheses recommended for studio environments. And then when you do that, you'll see three little drop downs. One says high fidelity music mode. I'm gonna leave that on. And then there's also a setting for echo cancellation and stereo
Okay,
audio.
now I see for background noise suppression. It had on auto.
Yeah, let's check original sound for musicians. Do you see that?
Original for musicians. Okay, I see it.
Yeah, check that, and then also make sure high fidelity music mode is on. Okay?
I checked that.
Okay.
Would that be a difference?
Original sound and high fidelity and echo cancellation, or
We're not having problems with echo right now, so let's not worry about that.
Oh.
Let's just make sure, do you see, is original sound for musicians checked?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you give us another howl, please?
Okay.
Let's hear it.
I think we're losing it again.
Dang.
I'm sorry,
Dang.
because is it?
Oh my god.
I heard
so-
the start of it, but I think I got the energy at least. I don't know about you all.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, we got the
I-
energy,
yeah.
but I'd like to
And
hear that.
also on my mic, it also said for mic mode on my part, it says standard or voice isolation.
Oh, interesting.
I have it on for voice isolation.
Okay, you might try experimenting with the setting there. But I also is high fidelity. Do you see high fidelity music mode in your Zoom settings?
Yeah.
Make sure that's checked.
And also when I play with my audio, in the beginning, so MacBook Air microphone. It's connected to my actual microphone. This is the Dream mic. So it's okay. I can do the howl again.
Sure, of course, of course.
Yeah.
Third time's the
Third time
charm.
charm.
All right.
Jinx, you have a soda.
Alrighty. Alrighty. You like Coke?
Sure. Rabby.
Y'all hear it?
No, I'm sorry, Jacques.
Oh.
We'll take
Damn
it.
it.
We can take a look at it. Maybe in one of our private trainings, or you can book a consultation. We'll get it sorted out. Anyway, let's assume that we all hear this epic wolf howl that Jacques has just shared, and with the purpose of communicating with whatever it was that produced the original one. And was there any sort of information that you'd like to try to like encode in that howl? You said you were kind of questioning the werewolf a little bit.
Okay. So in the translation for the howling, all Belphegor heard was, "Please help. We need assistance. Please come to us." I said, I forgot the other character. Top of M.
Merson
Merson.
Bushi.
Oh, Merson Bushi. I think that's the cry for help. We must have to go investigate and see what they want.
Okay, so as you unleash this howl that is sort of designed as like a come help us kind of invitation, as it were, you continue to hear more howling, but evidently this werewolf or wolf, you can kind of tell that it might be a werewolf based on the howl. It is not responding in a typical way that perhaps someone who had been a werewolf for a long time or maybe even was born a werewolf might. Someone who has been in it, like a pack of werewolves, would have a much more sophisticated, like yours, like system of communication. This howl is much different. It's like guttural and kind of without any sort of caution or nuance, and is just sort of targeted towards whatever object it's descending upon. You can kind of tell that it's very angry and it's kind of cutting into something.
Non-native speaker.
It's not a native speaker, and it is very off-putting to your seasoned werewolf ears.
Resonetta will draw her blade, but just have it in one hand, just kind of ready to go if anything should happen. And then she she looks to Lee's character and just kind of like smacks him on the back a little bit. And she says, "I do not know what you have been doing, but if we are in danger, I would like to know that you can defend yourself."
So my character kind of just gives a bit of a yelp because he just got smacked upside the head. It's like, huh, what's going on? Where am I? Who are you? What? Where's the tavern? He's been locked in on this thing for so long. He's just been kind of like on autopilot. Someone's gonna have to drill into him. What the hell just happened?
There's no time for that. How are we going to protect this young man?
Oh no, he can defend himself. It's just so my character is more of a mage. So the thing he was messing with is he kind of works with like etchings and inscriptions for his magic. So he was mostly just working on a tool. So he has a means to defend himself. It's just he gets so fixated on what he's doing, he just kind of drowns everything else out. So he can fight.
Resonetta will see that and direct it to him, but loud enough so that anyone can hear. "I don't suppose one of your spells or any piece of equipment can create light."
Funny you should mention that, actually. And he just kind of presents what he was working on. It's supposed to be kind of a special flashlight. He hasn't completely finished it yet. He just needs to work out the formula a bit, but he should have it hopefully in time before any sort of werewolf attacks.
All right, so make a perception check to see how
Okay.
your progress towards this invention has gone in the last several hours.
Several hours, yeah. Okay. What do I got? 12. And we would assume I'm proficient in perception from being magic, so that's like another 2.
Yes. Okay. Well, sorry. What is your character's name?
Etch.
Edge. I like that. So 12 plus 2 is going to be 14. That is a pass. By the way, I don't think I mentioned this. 12 is always the par, as it were, for passing. So 14 is pass. I'm keeping track of all the numbers specifically because I can award extra gold at the end of the adventure based on how far over that par we are.
Cool.
Okay, so describe how this how this design process has gone for this illumination device, and B, how you are concocting it from this either materials on your person or surrounding environment.
So what he's messing with, it's mostly just kind of a wooden disc at this point, and he's just been using your usual tool to like carve into or etch into the disc a specific formula like magic circle. All you will have to do is put in enough magical power, and it will illuminate to varying degrees. So too much, it's going to be blinding. Too little, it's not even going to flicker.
Resinita will say, "Well, for all of our sakes, I hope it is prepared in time. Meanwhile,
Yeah,
I
me
suggest
too.
we continue."
Let's
I
say that
suggest
it's
we
ready to
continue
go.
lunch.
It's fully ready. It's
Okay.
fully ready to go. Maybe you're not sure if it'll work, but it's ready for the magical input.
Right. Okay. You want me to try and put some magic into it now?
I would suggest so, yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna roll the d20 because this
no,
will
let's say-
require a bit of
Let's say it already it's already like done, so it's ready
Mhm.
for the magic. So if you're gonna do it yourself, then it'll just we can just use the results of the previous roll.
Okay.
So what does it look like as you're channeling magic into the device?
So I just have to take some nice deep breaths, and make sure I'm getting the correct flow of magic into it. So it's just going to be in the palm of my hand, a little bit of concentration, and since we're going off the previous success, it shines as bright as we need it to within the dark confines. So we've got plenty of light. We're not literally, fumbling around in the dark, and it works like your high-powered flashlight.
All right. As you're progressing through this dense forest, you come to a place where there's a small clearing off to the right-hand side, and this light is able to illuminate enough of the area to see the following. What you see is around this smallish lake, there is this figure that looks like he's being restrained, and you can see that there's this chain around him, and then as the details become more clear, it is this large hairy figure, and he's probably about 100 feet away from you, and the light from your flashlight is still dim enough to where they might not discern it apart from the moonlight. And this figure is, as the howling suggested, is just ripping into this creature that is rather large, vaguely horse-shaped on the ground. And there's no sound coming from the creature itself. And you can see 2 men on either side that are sort of preoccupied with the chain. and are kind of just manning it, as it were.
So we see two men restraining a creature with chains. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I like to talk to those two men. Excuse me, gentlemen. What are you think you're doing to that creature over there?
They look up at you and they say, "Why should we tell you?" And one of them is kind of holding this chain, and is kind of like tugging back and forth, and it is wrapped around this tree behind him. Well, I don't know you apart from Adam.
Well, because I'm more of a righteous person myself. Because if I ever heard you harming this poor creature or any kind of way, you have to answer to me first and my fellow friends behind me.
Then you'll be relieved to know that we're not harming him. We're feeding him.
Is that right? You mind let me talk to him as well?
Are you crazy? Do you not see what he is?
I can hardly tell what he is because I'm a creature myself, sir. And maybe it will be helping if you want to treat him like an animal. See, as far as your body movements so shaken with fear.
I'll believe it when I see it. He calls over and kind of like smirks at his friend who's on the other side of the chain. They're both kind of gripping it.
If you won't listen to reason, I might check it with or without your permission. As he puts the gauze away and calmly go over to the creature.
The creature looks up at you and as he does so, what does he see? You're pretty close to him now. Does he see like this half man, half wolf, or are you like fully man until you like become a wolf, or what does he see?
So as far as my characters goes, I he mostly had the appearance of transforming into a half man, half wolf. So it goes in a few stages. So as a senior werewolf, he able to change his form like freely.
So how is he presenting himself?
He presented himself since he go against another creature, he transformed into half man, half wolf to appear non-threatening.
Okay, so the werewolf looks up at you and just takes a little pause from this creature that he's just digging into viciously, and looks up at you snarling, like he's not really sure what to make of you.
All right. All right, young brother, or I would say young werewolf, look at me as I am one of you. If you don't believe me, then look at this. As he transformed into his werewolf form. You see, there's nothing to be afraid of. You can rely on me.
The werewolf kind of slumps back just a little bit and sets down some of the entrails from this creature, and then kind of looks at you for a minute, and then he too lets out a long "Howl!" I'm not sure if anyone's hearing this. Howl!
Oh, that one we heard.
Okay.
I heard at least.
Yeah, we heard that one.
That's how it can be heard.
Might be. I don't know. I'll look into that later. And it's kind of watching, to see how you're reacting to that.
And then my character able to howl back, but I cannot do it now since I don't know what's wrong with my mic.
And then as it subsides, the wolf kind of looks back at the two men, and then for the first time, the men sort of noticeably like relieve some of the slack on the chain, and they look back at you and they're like, "Okay, we believe you."
We greatly appreciate it. Now, if you will let my friend go out of his chains.
They very cautiously sort of undo the chains, noticing that their werewolf is, at least for the time, more like transfixed on you than anything else. They say, we've never
Now
seen him in this state of calm before, not while he's in this state at least. Of course, he's only been doing this for not that long, but this is very strange.
That because us werewolves, unlike our beast counterparts, that you only look for us like on the outside in our feral form instead of the inside because we're werewolves are humans too, you know.
And as you look to the humans, as you're saying this, you notice for the first time that they have this sort of their leather armor that's been almost like neglected and tattered in places. Bears the emblem of a green tree that is the emblem of sablewood, a dark green tree. And you notice this and you recognize at least the symbol.
Sablewood. I see. So that how Sablewood treats our own people. Not surprising. Fellow werewolf, what happened to you while you were chained?
And the werewolf, seeing that you're addressing him, kind of calms down for a little bit and then begins to sort of regain some of his human-like qualities. And in the end is kind of just like draped in this loincloth, right? And he looks up at you, just like, it came on suddenly. I never experienced anything like this before. And then he kind of looks at you and says, hey, what? You're that guy from before. And then you recognize him as the member of the town guard from the previous time you were in Sablewood who had lost his voice. His voice had been stolen from him. He says, it happened almost in an instant. My voice came back and, well, I turned to my fellow guard and I hadn't spoken in weeks, and I began talking, and then it just morphed and kind of got away from me. It turned into this snarl, this howl, and then I started to lose control. I attacked the people. I'm not proud of what I did, but I knew I couldn't let it happen again.
Don't worry. It's just a natural occurrence when it comes to beginner werewolves that first use the power in the day of night under the full moon.
Oh man, that's not gonna happen to me too. And what about Bessie?
Calm down.
The farmer.
Calm down, man. I lost my voice last time. I'm not gonna turn into a werewolf like you, am I? I can't handle that, man.
The farmer walks up to you and he's like, I'm not gonna have a were-cow on my hands, am I? My son's back at the farm.
Calm down. You are not going to turn. Your cow will not turn into a so-called were-cow. These occurrences only happen if you born a werewolf. But this current instance of him, this is unnatural. When I was turned to my beast form, I become feral only under a full moon, but not to this extent. Something must have happened to him. Like someone put like something in him that make him this feral.
This is
before.
What was that?
So was this guy like a werewolf before, or is it from the curse?
Oh, no, nothing like this had ever happened to me until I got my voice back. I remember feeling, well, frankly, a little upset at myself for having let the people down. And then the farmer kind of goes, let the people down? You abandoned your job, sir. When we needed you most, you left us. You put my son in danger, and, well, I've always harbored some resentment towards you for that, but I didn't want this to happen to you. And the man says, well, this still doesn't Tell me what happened. Why did this happen to me, and how do we fix it?
Well, this is a new occurrence to me too. Don't worry, we're gonna get to the bottom of this.
Well, I would appreciate that.
Um,
Go ahead.
so I know everybody's concerned about this man, but I might have something that can check if he is possibly cursed instead of having been like natural. You said he lost his voice before?
That's right. Well, I'm sure the farmer can tell it better than I can. That's right. This guy was patrolling the farm, and he was with my son, and that first werewolf came and attacked, and he just abandoned him. And, well, I thought I'd lose my son. In the end, you guys saved him, thank goodness. But we never heard from that soldier again until now. I didn't know where he went to.
So my character, he has a pouch filled with like other discs, some blank, some with etchings. He kind of just rummages through. It's like, I've been working on this formula for a bit. We could give it a try. So it kind of detects curses or other trace magical things.
Mm-hmm. The man is like, he's like on his knees from being, recovering from his werewolf form. Please, anything at this point.
Okay. Sure. So he kind of like holds it up, kind of towards like the center core, like where the heart is, because for him, magical energy is kind of centered in that core. So that would get the highest reading. Would do you want me to roll a perception check for that?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And since you're using a tool, you can have +2 on the roll in addition to your perception modifier.
What is that? That is a 9 plus 2. Am I adding another 2 because of the tool?
9 + 2 for the tool, and then your perception modifier.
Okay, so +4 would put me at 13.
Okay, so as you are getting this magical reading from this man's heart that is thumping quite ferociously still at this point, like a wolf in mid-chase, you feel that this magical discrepancy that resulted in him becoming a werewolf is easily traced back overhead. You can just see it through the clearing in these trees, the tip of this mountain that is above you, and you can detect this almost linear path that this curse, if you will, took from the mountain into the nearest, most psychologically distraught victim of the effects of the voice theft. You can kind of understand that it took the path of least resistance towards the person who felt the most shunned by their culture, their people, and sort of embedded itself singularly in this victim.
Okay, so I relay that, and I just kind of point. It's like, so it appears that the readings are coming from that direction. I'm sorry, I haven't been paying too much attention of where we were going. Do any of you recognize where that place is? Do we know why this magic is coming from here?
Memory serves. That is where we found the voice stealer the first time. She'll
Voice stealer?
She'll look to Malachite, ignoring that. She'll look to Malachite and say, "We were supposed to be going back to Sablewood. Do you think you could see this man there and we investigate the mountain?"
I can see. Are you asking me or
Did you ask Malachite?
I was asking Malachite.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Malachite looks up at you, quite craning his neck, squinting in the darkness. Well, my main priority at this point is getting back to my son. It's been a while since I left him. I normally don't go up in that mountain, but if someone promises to take good care of him, I suppose I could take a little detour.
Then I would suggest these men. She gestures to the Sablewood guards and the werewolf man. Not our werewolf man, the other werewolf man. She gestures to them and she'll say, I will leave it to you to look after Malachite's son while we try to purge this curse.
The guards look back at you and say, well, normally we commit to such favors after being bested in feats of combat. And just draws out his sword and says, if you can prove that you're worth defending, maybe we'll throw in a hat for you. Besides, these people in Sablewood are not too, if this farmer is any indication, are not too warm and fuzzy about us anymore. And he's got this, sword that he pulls out of his tattered leather armor, and it's totally like rusted and unsharpened. But he says, well, which one of you is going to fight me?
And before he can finish, Resonetta takes the flat of her blade and just bonks him on the head with it. I can
make a strength check.
Yeah, I can make it say, "Oh, this is gonna be."
My character starts purring.
All right, there we go. Okay, that is a 13 plus 2 plus 3 for strength, which is 16, plus another 3 for the greatsword, which is 19.
Okay, you conk him on the head and he kind of falls over. He says, ow, okay, I get it. Yeah, you guys are strong. Yes, we're not enjoying life in the woods out here any more than you are. So, yeah, I suppose we could go back to the farm and help your son. And the farmer Malachite says, well, then it's settled. I'll hike up the mountain and see what I can find up there. In the meantime, I guess y'all should focus on what you came here for. And with that, he packs up and starts hiking towards in this direction that doesn't seem very well traveled to you at all, just kind of in the bushes. But he evidently knows kind of where he's going. And
I was actually suggesting we go with him to investigate the mountain.
Oh.
If the party is in agreement.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm quite the adventurer myself, so I'll take on any challenge.
I'm fine with that. This device can help us track it down a little better, if you're okay with that.
So
my character yawns again and stretches and settles a little farther down into the backpack.
As you
Silence is acceptance.
As you continue onward after Farmer Malachite, who's just trudged on into the bush here, he leads you up this treacherous mountainous path that's just full of loose gravel, and you're slipping and sliding. And this
May I interject for a moment?
Of course. Welcome, Dan. I was waiting for that. Hi.
Hi.
Hello there.
Wolf falls out of a tree. Ah!
Ugh.
Ow!
Bloody hell, what was that?
Jesus Christ, what the hell?
It was Jesus!
Didn't Jackass say don't try this at home?
Well. Hello?
Hello there, sir.
Hi.
Wolf dusts himself off from getting up off the ground. Banged up a bit from the gravel.
Why were you
I
in
don't
the
have anything
tree?
better to do, so I guess I'll come along with you because it's dark.
Resonetta will look and say, I remember you. You failed
Yes,
the
me.
cannon.
Thank you for pointing that out.
I suppose there is no turning back.
I
do
go
not
up.
foresee cannons.
I walk up to Resonetta and like, is this someone? Do we trust? Do we need to kill this one?
She'll squint her eyes at Dan, or not Dan, but Wolf.
Wolf.
Yeah, sorry. She squints her eyes and says, "No, we do not need to kill him.
Oh,
But keep an eye on him. He is wont to wander where he shouldn't."
As you progress further up the the mountain, the instruments that you were using, Lee, to sort of keep track on this curse, to all indications, seem like they're just keeping their orientation back the way you came towards the werewolf. By the way, I assume at least there were 2 guards, so maybe one of them is staying back with the werewolf, and the other one is going with towards the village. It seems like the curse is isolated to this person that it has chosen to inhabit. However, the readings on your instruments, your etchings, do pick up some ominous trace of a slightly different origin that is coming from the direction you are going. And you get further up the mountains, treacherous mountain path. It's close to midnight. And in the darkness, you see this encampment of men that are sort of huddled closely around this campfire on this side of the mountain where they have just enough kind of like purchase. And it actually is quite this, relative to the side of a mountain, quite a large area of flattened land that is just stable enough. And they seem to be building some sort of structure that's partially unfinished. There's a bit of scaffolding, and they're just kind of around this campfire, talking in hushed tones, but not being especially quiet. You can see that the entrance to the cave that many of you recognize from before is now covered in boards, kind of hastily erected boards, and these men are just kind of talking.
Maybe we should knock to see if somebody's home, my character says sarcastically.
Does he actually go and knock on the boards?
Nah.
Oh, okay.
Guards have any recognizable symbols on their armor?
As you look in the glint of the firelight, you can see this crimson hawk that is the emblem of Neusternium. And one of them turns around at the sound of Jensen's character's voice and says, "You can try if you want. I don't think you're going to get a very good response." The other men kind of laugh along with him. "Where are you guys from? Come on. We don't see many travelers on this hill." They don't seem very afraid of you, at least.
Is my instrument like giving any sort of like directional reading, or is it just because you mentioned like some ominous like residual thing?
Yeah, you can tell that it's coming from a very faint trace from within the cave that has been boarded
It's coming
up.
directly from these guys.
It's totally coming directly from these
They're giving you
guys.
bad vibes. No, they've been so far rather amicable, especially given the circumstances of travelers stumbling in the night. They're very burly men, and they don't seem bothered.
Resonetta will step forward and say, "We are Echo Knights from the Temple of Vocalis. We investigated a voice-stealing curse here a while ago. What business does Neusternium have at this place?"
Well, if it were up to us, we wouldn't want to worry about that at all. There's some kind of, what would you call it? One of the guys is like, it sounds like some kind of beast, but maybe it's got voices. I don't know. Yeah, it's real confusing, but every now and then we hear it from in that cave. It's not really part of our job to go investigate it, although we've talked about it because it's really getting in the way of this. He kind of points at. He points at the structure that they're building, the new watchtower that we're erecting on the side of this mountain. Where'd you folks say you're from? Vocalis? Oh, you're the Order. Oh, well, what brings you here?
She'll just give a quick look at Malachite, just kind of a quiet acknowledgement, saying just like, don't tell them everything. And she turns back and says, this kind farmer said there were more disturbances similar to what he experienced the last time. He came to us, and we are here to investigate and purge if need be.
Oh, that's a relief. I thought you were here to do some environmental consulting, because we dredged out quite a bit of the side of that mountain over there. But yes, if you could help us eliminate that whatever threat's been brewing in that mountain, that would make our lives a lot easier. And we could even, I don't know, offer you up some respite from the cold around our campfire. I don't know what else we can help you with, but that would be of great help to us.
I got some stuff I'd like to offer as well.
They like lean in expectantly.
Let's see. I got some food. I got this stuff called frostbite. It's good flour, they say. Yeah. Help yourself to whatever you'd like.
They eagerly grab some of the snacks and the herb, if you will, and some begin partaking. And the guy who you've been talking to is this tall man with black hair, and he introduces himself as Samuel. He says, "Hi, my name's Sam. Yeah, some of the guys are into that kind of stuff. I think you'll find you're in good company here, but like if you were talking about this cave here, just a word of warning. Whatever we heard, it didn't sound very friendly. So I hope you came prepared to deal with whatever it is."
Oh, don't worry. As an adventurer, I like to pack my essentials. My blade, my trusty crossbow, of course, the herb that the folks are partaking in, but that helps with my focus, let's just say.
May I ask, Samuel, what business do you have in these parts, and what do you know of a town called Sablewood?
Well, and he kind of glances down the mountain. You can kind of see some of the structures down below of the village. You can see them. Some of them are still lit, and it looks rather peaceful in the night. He says, "Well, ultimately, we're just following orders. Captain Claudius is the one. She's really calling the shots. But she told us to build this watchtower. We came and set up shop here about a week ago, maybe a little more. I guess it's been about 2 weeks now. And we've been helping protect these people from whatever crazy stuff's been lurking in these woods. I mean, at night we hear these howls. I mean, it's really nuts. And then whatever's coming from that cave, these people need a lot of help. So I feel good about it.
I'd like to ask something quickly. Is the watchtower backed against the entrance of the cave?
It's like it's kind of relying on some of the mountainside to sort of support itself, and it's like to the side of the entrance of the cave.
Gotcha.
Very well.
Go on.
May I propose, should we dispose of this thing in the cave, will you grant us audience with this Claudius?
I think I can make that happen. My shift up here on the mountain is supposed to end tomorrow, so tell you what. If you take care of whatever's in that cave and frankly getting us behind our quota, that would spare me a lot of unkind words from the captain. I'll bring you down and we can have a little chat.
Resonetta will nod and then turn to Malachite and say, For your own safety, I suggest you stay with Samuel. Perhaps he will be more likely to talk to one of Sablewood.
All right. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't eager on going into that cave. I did not sign up for that. I just want to go see my son. So please be quick and be careful. And he kind of looks towards where he knows you've tucked away the lost cord and looks back at you.
Very well. And she, I guess she motions for the party to square up and for the boards to be taken down.
All right. And as the boards are taken down, I am going to actually say that that is a good stopping point for the adventure. So
To be continued.
to be continued. All of you get +1 in whatever stat you would like, and some amount of gold that is 10 plus the sum of all of these checks. So that's 14, 21, 29, 29 minus, there was a 3 in there. 29 minus 9 is 20, 22, 21. So 21 was your total above the par, plus 10 for the adventure is going to be 31 gold pieces each that you can spend when you get to a town, or if you think of something that your character might want, you can always message me and we can sort it out. There was going to be an interaction regarding an item of Chris's character that we didn't get to, but there's always next time.
Tune in next month on Samurais of Sound.
Pretty much.
So what do you guys think?
It was
So
fun.
far, I like it.
Yeah.
Good.
I was here.
You were here.
I love.
Nice
I
not
love
to have
that.
20 pages of stuff you have to look through.
True.
Yeah.
I was pretty much building my character as I go. I figure it's like this might work. So like I have an kind of idea of what to do when we get into the cave. Just more etching from etch.
There you go. Very cool.
Dan, when I realized who your character was from my notes, I just the reaction Resonetta had was the exact reaction I had. Is like, oh, this guy. And I love how he came in. He just dropped from a tree, no questions asked.
Don't ask why he was up there.
What the bloody hell was
that? And of course, we can't forget about my rendition of Journeys Don't Stop Believing.
I want to talk.
I should perhaps have mentioned at the start that the last RPG I played was Call of Cthulhu. So, yeah, sorry about that.
Cthulhu.
I love that.
That's amazing. I want to talk about a new product, Samurai Sound product that we have been developing. I wrote a guide for hosting role-playing games. So if you guys are interested in either maybe you've always wanted to host a game, but you didn't know if you like what it took necessarily, or you've been hosting for years and you want a fresh perspective, I wrote a guide called Hosting the Game that we are selling through our platform. That is a coupon there in the chat for 30% off that all members get. But even if you're not a member, because we just had this wonderful session, I'm happy to extend that to you. It's a really fun guide. I poured in all my years of experience running role-playing games into it. It works for any framework. It's not attached to a specific framework. It's just my experiences.
So it's good for pretty much any kind of tabletop RPG that you'd want to run as a GM.
That's right. Yeah, it's geared towards hosting the game specifically in terms of how you set up an environment that is really good for cultivating, friendships, making memories with people around a table. It talks a little bit about like what goes into a recurring campaign. It talks about how do you create memorable scenes and characters, and how you sort of maintain a recurring campaign if that's something you're interested in.
Okay. And outside of the obvious coupon code, we'd be able to like share that out with other people that like to do like D&D and things. Just for like extra tool for people always wanting to like host and not quite sure the best way to do certain DM things, because you can get your player handbook, you can get your Dungeon Master's Guide, but you can't always make a you can't always figure out the best scenario in world building.
Yeah, and that's a good point. The emphasis on the guide is on creating your own original adventures, because ultimately that is a really powerful way to create a shared narrative storytelling, as we're discovering, right? And to not have all the answers and let things kind of develop naturally. So the guide definitely talks about that. You can share. I can't stop you from sharing the coupon code. So if you want to share it with your friends, I'm not going to say no, or however you want to do that. But that's kind of any other questions about
that? In terms of sharing it or just the guide itself?
Either one.
I don't think I have too much on sharing. I wouldn't want to give out the coupon code just because, I mean, it wouldn't feel right to me.
No, you can. That was my funny way of saying you can share the coupon code.
Right. I mean, it might encourage some people, and it's not like it's like that expensive. No different from like if you were to buy like Dungeon Master's Guide or Handbook or anything.
Yeah, and it comes with the Voices and Choices framework. For if you are going to share it with people, they will have access to the Voices and Choices framework if they want to choose to run an adventure with it.
Would that be cool? Like if, say, like people can't always get into Strawberry Hills role playing Voices and Choices, but like some voice acting friends maybe want to get together more often to work on their own little workshops to kind of like help collab with people and still practice. And
absolutely, yep, I think it's a really good way to meet on a routine basis, keep each other accountable, check in with. It's really creative space to check in with each other about how we're doing in our creative process, and to just really develop our skills. So yeah, absolutely, it's a way. My vision behind this project was to do exactly what you just said, which is start or introduce this sort of role-playing aspect to your friendships with those creative people in your life. Of course, I've started campaigns that have been very successful with people who I never thought would have been interested in role-playing, like some of my family members, especially during COVID when we had a lot of time on our hands. So it's really for everybody, but like you said.
Okay, I can think of a few people, and like there's a straight up voiceover community Discord, so I'm sure a bunch of people could benefit from that, just to encourage more people to get together and work, and even give more critiques with each other, like trying to flesh out better characters with better choices. I definitely felt like I struggled trying to get my actual voice going with that initial run, just because I noticed I was dipping in and out of various different dialects.
Oh, I honestly didn't even notice. I felt like you had a pretty good choice that you were making there with the voice, even if it wasn't necessarily like ethnically super clear. That's okay. I don't think anyone's looking for like a specific cultural influence necessarily.
I wasn't so much going for like, I was just trying to go with like a base British, but it felt like I was going like closer towards like Eastern European sometimes.
That's what I was getting. I was getting more Eastern European for sure. Yeah, which is cool. This is a good place to practice dialects. You don't feel like you have to have a dialect, right? Sometimes just bringing even just your normal voice is okay. I think the most important thing is putting yourself in the shoes of the person, right? Your character, and finding the truth in how your character would react, and letting the acting kind of come from there. And then you layer on whatever linguistic kind of characteristic you want, right? So.
Right. No, it was a good first run. Hopefully I can make the second one to keep my character more consistent.
Yeah. These are going to be every month. The next one, I guess, since we're talking, I haven't. Oh, actually, I haven't set that one up in the back end of our system yet, but it is going to be on February 25th, so you can keep that date saved. I'll put it here to 25 next.
Okay, yeah.
really work out. If you're interested in
Alrighty.
accompanying, members go free. Yeah, I know that we're going over, so if you guys need to drop out, I totally understand.
Did we do any character prep work or anything for the next time? Now that we know the framework a little better.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can do as much preparation as you want, and
Or as little.
or as little, right?
Or as
You
little.
can just drop in from a tree if you want. But
Yeah.
if you want to think about
Your only dialogue's just gonna be like, ah.
if you want to think about your character backstory a little bit more, or maybe some you can add on layers of lore to what you've encountered already, or build upon your player's connection to certain characters. Like maybe you know one of the characters from somewhere, and you write a little. You can write. I want this to feel very liberating in the sense that you can make connections between your character and the world or other players. You can write those down. You can think about them. You don't have to write anything down. And certainly use the next session to sort of flesh those ideas out. So hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah, totally. And like I said, I'm good at doing impersonations in different dialects, so I just go by. When it comes to my characters, it just really depends on which one, because I have quite a few actually.
Well, good, yeah, and you can definitely pull out different. If it's a totally different voice, you can have a different character. You know, you can make as many characters as you want. There's no limit. If you make a new character, their stats will go back to the same way you created a character, right? Just pick 1 + 2, 1 - 2. But
Yeah, and if I go back to the other character, do they have the same stats, or is it still resetted?
Yep, and at the end of
okay.
every session, you get a +1 of your choosing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I hope that we could run into the problem soon where many of your characters start to max out, which would be a great problem to have. And then you can think about if you want to keep the same character or transition their story in a different direction.
But you can only just use one character per campaign, right? Or per month.
Yeah, per session, you want to stick as one character because that's going to help you stay grounded in the present circumstances. When you start jumping around to different characters, I've had that before with players, and it becomes you lose an element of realism when you start to do that. Yeah, it's not true in every framework. Some frameworks are meant to are formatted a little bit differently, where people can play as organizations and stuff like that. But for voices and choices, let's keep it with one character per session. If you have a little familiar or like a mount, like sometimes there's some flexibility there, right? Like we've seen with Mr. Flanagan. So okay, another announcement that is breaking news. We just firmed up our workshop with Karen Strassman. She's going to do a Creatures and Monsters workshop in October. There may be another one that she's doing on a different subject sooner than that, but I don't want to say for certain yet. If you log into the Samurai Sound members area, or even if you're not a member, you can still log in. It'll be right there at the top as one of our upcoming events. You can also register there for my upcoming workshop on recording and editing for your demo reel. If you want to get some practice recording some scripts, working in your DAW, and seeing how I would handle audio editing in Audacity, and we talk about what goes into a demo reel as you think about developing that. You can also register for Raj's upcoming workshop. He's doing one on the interaction between Japan and US in the voice acting industry. That's where his background is in voice acting in Japan. So you can register for all 3 of those upcoming workshops. We have more in the books, actually. We just confirmed today that Wendy Lee is doing a workshop in April. I think it's April 24th.
Do we know what the workshop is?
Yeah, it's going to be on, since you asked, let me pull up. I was just emailing back and forth with her. It's going to be April 26th, Saturday, April 26th, and the topic is animation and direction. So she's going to be talking about her experience voice acting for animation and as a director for animation. So that more details on that, you'll be able to sign up for that soon. There's no sign up for that yet, but I'm working on it.
Okay. All right. I think the whole silence says we should all probably start heading out.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't want to.
I mean, it's fun. It's fun hanging out
I
with
was looking
everybody.
through
Oh,
the
yeah,
I love it.
archives.
Yeah,
it's
no, I've been looking through it too.
yeah, me too. It was nice meeting you all, and it was nice hanging out. Thanks for inviting me, and yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no, it was definitely great to be here.
I'm so thrilled to hear that. I'll hang out for another couple of minutes or so in case there's any lingering questions. And thank you all so much for joining. I hope to see you soon at Roleplay Workouts Community Hubs every Tuesday, 5:30.
Okay.
And see you guys soon.
Alrighty.
Sweet. I actually did
Thank
just
you,
come up with
Austin.
a. Sorry,
See you guys.
later.
Bye.
So Austin, I actually did have a random question.
Mhm.
In terms of kind of adding mixing music and vocals, because for some reason I got the crazy idea of doing my own cover for Creepy Nuts, the Don Da Don opening, just to mess around with it.
Okay.
I've got the instrumental, but I've never actually like mixed lyrics with music before.
Okay.
So obviously just overlaying them on top of each other isn't gonna work.
So you've got the instrumental track,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have lyrics in it, right?
No. Interestingly enough, so I got it from Amazon Music, and it came with the actual track with the lyrics and everything, and it came with a pure instrumental track. So no lyrics, anything, not even like the chorus things or anything like that. It's all instrumental, which is actually kind of cool. I
Okay.
didn't expect them to have that available.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're kind of good to go. I think. Are you a singer? Do you have like some singing background or?
I've done a bit of singing for theater. I don't really advertise myself as much of a singer. Plus this is also rapping.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm guessing you haven't heard the Don Da Don
Mm-mm.
opening.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. It's more of a rap thing, and I'm honestly just trying to use it like to challenge myself, because I'm also doing it in Japanese because I'm trying to get better at Japanese.
Wow.
Yeah, I am probably biting off more than I can chew, but I never know how to dial back. A lot of like, even when it comes to film projects, I haven't shot anything because I don't have the team, the budget, or the costuming. Otherwise, I'd be making a heck of a lot more stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wow. It sounds like wow. You got a lot of creative endeavors going. The thing about okay, so you already you obviously know the lyrics of the song. You just need to make sure your pronunciation is where it should be. I
Yeah.
don't know where your fluency is with Japanese, but
It's fairly well. I think my biggest thing is like because I've got the Romaji for it,
Mhm.
so that way I'm like reading it properly. I'm mostly just trying to make sure I match the tempo, because it's more of a rap hip hop kind of thing, so you're talking a little bit faster.
Mhm.
That is where my pronunciation will like drop off on a few things, so
Mhm.
I'm still practicing that. I just figured, since you have experience on that music side,
Mhm.
if there is anything I need to keep in mind before I like actually do put it all together.
Yeah, definitely make sure that you can rap along, get to a place where you can rap along with the song at tempo
Mhm.
reliably, you know? So you need to practice a lot.
Definitely.
You don't have to, you know, you can practice away from the song at first to make sure you're getting the sequence of the syllables all correct and the pronunciation
Mhm.
correct, and then gradually speeding it up. It's a lot of repetition. And then once you get to a place where you're like, okay, like I'm feeling comfortable with this. I'm able to get it right most of the time as I'm singing along, rapping along with the song. That's when you're like, okay,
Mhm.
let's record. You go into your setup here, and you're using what are you using, like Audacity or?
Yeah, I'm just using Audacity. I haven't really had any experience or tried anything with others, and I'm probably not even fully utilizing Audacity. The most I know is record and try and like get rid of a lot of my background noise and just make it as clean as possible.
Yeah. Okay. I mean that'll get you started. So you import the audio into the session, right, as a stereo track, and you'll be recording on a mono track, and you when you're recording, don't worry about the volume of the track. You can keep it pretty loud. Just it doesn't really matter. Make the important part is getting the performance the way you want. What I'll
Right.
often do is, so let's say there's like, in terms of the recording process, if there's like let's say for argument's sake, there's 3 verses in a chorus. There's like 4 sections. I'll often do when I'm recording, I'll stick with one section at a time, and I'll do like 4 takes of that section. So if it's like verse 1, I'll do 4 takes of verse 1. And if I mess up, I'll just stop and go back to the beginning of section 1 and start again. And that way, once you have 4 or 5 takes of the section 1, say, you can separate them out onto different tracks, and you can pick as you're editing. This is after you've recorded everything. Did the same for all those other sections. As you're editing, you're going through each one of those tracks, and you're like, okay, I like the first half of this delivery in take 1, and the second half of this delivery for this phrase in take 2. And then because the way you've recorded is kind of logical, and you have it all kind of mapped out right there, you can easily pick between the takes and make sure you're picking the best ones. And then that's called comping. And as you comp the takes together, you're getting the best of everything. And you do that
because I've just been trying to do it all in one take.
No, yeah, you don't have to. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
But you got to get to a place where, like, you could do it with your track going in the car or like casually. Like, you shouldn't have to think too hard about your delivery. So it sounds like it'll take a lot of practice to get to that point. But once you do, if you use that technique I just shared with you about recording, it'll make the process of getting the best parts much easier.
No, that honestly makes it feel like less daunting, to where like if I can just, because like there are definitely some verses that I'm doing better than others. So the fact that if I just do the comping, I'm definitely going to have far better takes and a far better mix.
Yeah.
I definitely appreciate that, especially because, we are going over time, but you're kind enough to sit back for that. I don't know if you can answer this or not, because since I haven't really gotten to a point where I'm actually getting booked as a voiceover actor or anything, mostly because I don't have a demo reel. But like, is there a way to like get any like preliminary work before you get like the full professional demo reel to send out to like multiple agencies and stuff?
So you're going to be doing get used to doing a lot of networking online and utilizing those platforms that are in your the guide to booking gigs in the members library. There's lots of sources to go, like Backstage, Casting Call Club. So it's going to be a lot of outreach on there. Like one of our members, Justin Hernandez, has been going through that process, and he's been getting good results. You can go on Reddit, Facebook, find groups of people who are doing like projects, like small animations or shorts or something, and get connected. It's going to take a little bit of time each day. You should devote 20 minutes or so at least of just like, okay, I'll go on and find something that's going on, and I'll submit an audition. It might take longer than 20 minutes if you're recording an audition, so you got to kind of think about that. But getting used to opening up your DAW, making a recording, listening to yourself, being critical, and then picking the best one, or you could, the same process comping applies to voiceover as well. If you do the whole take, and if you mess up, go back to the beginning. Don't just keep going. Back to the beginning. Record again. If you get 4 takes, you can comp them together for your auditions. Yeah, it's going to take time, right? But you got to get used to going through those motions every day and practicing. And that's what we're here to do, is to keep, help keep you accountable.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways you can get connected in terms of keeping yourself accountable, getting practice in. Like if you go to the members server, there's monthly challenges, so you can focus on those scripts if you want to.
I still need to do the January one. The last week was kind of terrible. Got a major head injury, so I was recovering from that. Then I had a cold, and I'm just like, man, I would like to be recording anything, but I am just not up for it.
Yeah, that's understandable. But I'm glad you're okay, and as you start to recover, yeah, just think about how you want to fit in that daily practice and daily
Mm-hmm.
outreach into your routine, right?
Right.
So
Okay. Um, I know like some places have like asked for like or even like some of these profiles for some of these sites of like wanting you to like add on like even just sample reels, not so much like a full demo, but sample reels.
mhm.
What is the like how do you usually like go about that? Do you look for like scripts you can use online? Do you just like pull put something together yourself, utilizing your voice?
Yeah, you think about, you can find scripts online. You think about what kind of voiceover reel you want. If it sounds like you're kind of leaning towards more like a character reel, like games and
Hmm.
anime kind of style reel, you think about the kinds of characters that would be like your money voice, right? Like that you could
Hmm.
showcase. And then you start with those kinds of scripts. Maybe you develop them your own based on characters that inspire you or kind of have a similar register to you or similar motivation, or the motivation that you're going
Hmm.
for. You write similar scripts based on that, or you can find them online and just sort of adapt them. You want to be careful to
Okay.
like adapt them and not use any like intellectual property, right? But
Right.
and then that's sort of like one way you can go about it with scripts. If you do decide to develop your demo reel with us, we will write all the scripts for you and sort of figure
Hmm.
out like what kinds of voices will work with you to like figure out what voices you're comfortable with, where you can kind of stretch yourself
Yeah.
and do different characters that might not be expected.
Hmm.
But in terms of
I
just
mean, I've
getting
done some practices with voice reels, and I've found some of those scripts to be a little interesting. One of which I started doing a far better pirate voice than I thought, mostly because I was trying to utilize at least some of what I learned from aging your voice,
Mhm.
just to try and figure out like the best ways to kind of manipulate your voice outside the norm.
Good. I'm glad that you're incorporating a lot of that. Yeah, get used to recording yourself a lot. Find even if you just want to like spend some time ad libbing as a pirate, in front of your microphone, and you develop scripts that way. That can be one way.
Hmm.
But get used to recording yourself and listening back. Even just listening back on a day later on your phone, some other device, gives you like this
Right.
perspective where you can kind of be critical, right? And think like, oh, like or even get used to sharing it with your peers or your friends or other people,
Hmm.
right? That's a good place. That's another good place, and a good use of the member server. If you go in the forum, you can post recordings of yourself and say like, hey, I'm looking for
Yeah.
some constructive criticism or a second opinion.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so
I feel like there needs to be more traffic going on through those forums. I don't know if people just like aren't familiar with it, know about it, or because I would absolutely go to that more often if it felt like there was more people there.
mhm. Well, that's a good point. That's sort of the idea behind keeping everyone get engaged on a monthly basis, is going on, making sure people are going on there regularly. I'd say like, don't rely on that as your only like source of community, but it is a source
Right.
of community. If you post something there and you ask for feedback, people will get back to you.
Hmm.
We'll log on there and get back to you. So
Yeah.
it's definitely growing. It's just it takes a little bit of time.
Right. Yeah.
It's
No,
also a little bit
I'm
different than other online communities in the sense that everyone there is a member. So like
true.
it's members only. So from the only pool of people that can be part of it are your fellow members. So that automatically makes it more exclusive and smaller.
Hmm.
But people will respond to you if you post on there.
Yeah. I mean, mostly like when I introduced myself, there was at least some engagement, and there was enough engagement that won me last month's challenge,
Yes.
mostly by like one person. But it's still kind of odd that like there was more people that liked mine than others. But I mean, that was cool. No, I am on some other community, mostly just communities. I haven't gotten into any other classes, and I'm still trying to find like a good one-on-one coach. I'm leaning towards Megan Berry, I think.
Morgan Berry. Yeah.
Morgan Berry. Yeah. Her classes aren't too overly expensive, and a good hour session when I got the extra money would be helpful because I'm more leaning towards like video games and animations.
Yeah, it's really helpful to get that constant feedback from people. Just from the people who were in the last session. Anthony is one of my private students. Well, Tony, he goes by Tony. Jacques is a private student of mine. James has just signed on as a private student for me and Raj. He does first session with Raj. If you do decide to go with the premium membership, you get a 50% discount on the upgrade.
Right.
So you're only paying, it's like about $500 for the whole,
Yeah.
all 12 sessions. So it's, when you do the math, it's an upfront investment, but it's actually a pretty good deal when you break it down.
Yeah.
So
I just need to build my finances back up. Right now, I'm a little struggling. So, but once that does, once I am like in a better stable position, that is definitely something I plan to do.
Yeah, I mean, anything to keep yourself accountable, right? So it doesn't have to be that, but it is an option to you. But the main thing is just putting yourself in a position where you're accountable. Other people are like, oh yeah, what's Lee gonna do this time? You know. So finding more online communities, things like that. I have got to go. Thanks for stopping by again, Dan. I have got to go because I got to pack up the studio.
I just wanted to ask one quick question.
Yes.
When should I start thinking about making a demo reel?
I love that question. My answer is when you.
As soon as possible?
No,
yes
don't
and
go
no.
soon.
I know.
If you make a recording, let's say you made a recording 6 months ago and you listen to it and you're like, oh, that script, like I did a pretty good job on that script. Like I would probably like record it in a similar way. You show it to someone else, who's into, who's an artist into creative stuff. They're like, okay, yeah, good job. Like that was really effective. When you're at that point where you don't feel like you have the need to, like, not that you don't have the need to evolve because we're always learning more, right? But when you're like, okay, like I'm at a fairly stable place where I think I could actually like record and it's going to age pretty well. Because your demo reel is an investment, right? You're spending money. So you want to make sure that you're spending money on something that's going to last and it's going to get you those gigs for a year or 2 years or 3 years, right? 3 years I think is pushing it for a demo reel, honestly. But if you're at a place where, this could probably last 2 years, I could make it work. You should record your demo reel because once you have your demo reel, you can send it off all kinds of audition. It makes the whole process of auditioning so much easier. So hopefully that answers your question.
The main concern is, like I said, I haven't done much work outside of like the amateur for friends thing. So I haven't made one of recording full stop.
Yeah, I mean, definitely like take advantage of the member server to get some more experience recording. I was just talking to Lee about recording the monthly challenges is just a really great way to get those recordings. You can send them in for feedback. I mean, that's what the server's for, is getting feedback. But get in the habit of recording yourself on a regular basis and listening back, not just at your computer, but across, bouncing it out onto your phone and listening. Listen to yourself, get in the process.
Remind me where I can find the monthly challenges, by the way.
So, very quickly,
didn't you say one time, like probably a couple weeks ago, we might be able to send in to like personally you guys for some feedback if we were curious, or did I mishear?
As a member, you can send in your definitely. Let me show you here as you log in. Send us your recordings for sure. We'll give you feedback. Upcoming events. It's right here. Samurai the Sound Community Server. You click on that, and then it's this Communities tab. Challenges tab. Right now we're doing the January one. These are really good scripts that I wrote original. You can use them for your little kind of like, I don't want to say like rough reels, if you will, just to get like examples of your work, or you can incorporate them into your demo reel even. But it's designed as a good way to practice on a recurring basis and get feedback, right? And see how other people would interpret the same script. So
I still need to record mine.
I've got to get going, but I do appreciate all the questions. So you know how to reach me.
Yeah.
It all comes back to me anyway, so you can hit the contact on our form or whatever. Thank you, and I'll see you both soon. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for sticking around for so long. Thanks.
Yeah. Sorry for joining back at the last second, keeping you around.
No, I really appreciate it.